And yet you did it. You made it ape. If more were like you, doing what was necessary in this situation, I think we would be in a better place.
I used it because it was necessary, and it is a gift I was given. I didn't use it for your amusement.
That's all I ask.
Okay. Just to make sure, because I'm about to fucking make all of you go disappear.
Yep. Oh, it's got it.
Bam.
Yep. Yep.
Leon will want to walk over to Tempus while he's looting everything.
Yes, yes. So, now that you all have yourselves copied, gonna go ahead and hide this map. As I proceed to scrub it clean.
Get rid of that fire.
Tempus!
Wait, he's got a squeak. Oh.
Tempus, on the body of the drow archer, who is not the leader, you find 10 gold pieces. They are noops, meaning they were minted in Newport. And you find pictures of what's presumably her family.
Tempus will keep the pictures of her family, storing them in one of the pockets of
Alright.
his own jacket.
On the leader, you find 2 8-sided platinum pieces engraved with web designs, 20 gold pieces in noops, 20 feet of black spider silk rope, and just for the record, each of those platinum pieces is worth 10 gold.
Okay.
You haven't seen platinum pieces like that before. And also a letter, which, because you have grabbed it, you may now read to the group. Gryph.
So, guys, found all these lovely items. I found some rope and some coins. I'm sure we can quite enjoy them. But also found this letter. You don't mind, I'm just going to read it out, not give you a time to say anything. Right, now, your target is coming. Oh, wait, your target is among a small group of travelers heading to Newport. Leave no survivors, and you will be well rewarded with continued employment. Well, which one of you is a target?
Well, one of us is.
I suspect the dwarf.
Okay.
He looks over and says, "Why is that?"
Well,
Wishful
you have a
thinking.
way with incinerating spiders. If anything, I'd make you the target. You're dangerous.
Says, "I can incinerate anything."
Exactly. See, point proven.
He shrugs. Regardless, they're dead. What they were there for? It is to destroy this caravan. It's our job to stop them.
Well, I believe we've done the job well. Now, let me just count out these coins for everyone.
Thomas, as Tempus is counting out those coins, by chance you look back at the bodies of the drow, and you notice that Tempus missed something, a glint on the leader's belt.
Thomas will go investigate.
Thomas notes that it is a war axe, rather a bit tarnished, like it's seen quite a bit of use in its day. But his eyes in particular are drawn to attention to the stamp of the great gold worm at the bottom of the war axe.
Well, Thomas will take it, carry it back to the group, looking both somewhat...
As soon as you grab it, the war axe sparkles with a golden light, and everyone nearby feels a small surge of power coming from the item. The item actually begins booming, and this is actually a voice out loud that everyone can hear, although in their minds.
Oh, how many years has it been? Oh.
What age is
Devil's
this?
name is that.
Can we hear where
Who's
it comes from?
speaking?
Yes, it is coming from the axe, the war axe that Thomas has picked up.
Okay, just ask. Is
I have
magical
assumed
item-
our characters didn't know that.
Are we aware that magical items can talk? Is this like a
Yes.
huge surprise?
Yes.
All magic items have personalities, and some of them only communicate through emotions and feelings, but others are capable of speech.
Thomas will simply pause and turn around
quickly walking towards Thomas.
Thomas is going to be turning towards Tempus and just going, Tempus, you missed something.
Oh,
Apparently.
that thing is just an axe. I didn't realize it could speak. Well, I left it for you. Obviously.
The voice booms. What age are we in currently?
I do believe it is the 13th, Mr. Warx.
That long. Well, I suppose you're the first worthy person to pick me up since my last friend died.
By the hand of Drow, I suppose.
No, it wasn't quite the hand of Drow. Last I recalled, it was actually a red dragon. Unless my old age deceives me. It has been a few ages.
Oh,
Last I was active, it was the 8th age.
see. I isn't quite sure what to make of this talking axe right now. And is content to just treat it like a person.
Walks up to it and sort of looks at it very curiously.
It does shimmer with that golden light, and it very clearly has the markings of the great gold worm upon it. Especially now that Thomas has picked it up, it seems almost as if some of the old tarnishing and the rust is actually beginning to clear away before your eyes.
He'll sort of look at Thomas with this sort of new eyes, sort of suspiciously eyeing him and looking at him and say, so, congratulations.
Thomas looks up a bit confused, then seems to understand. I'm not sure what to make of this. Sir
You've got a new friend.
X.
It is one of the Dwarf King's heritage. They choose their masters, I believe.
I see.
You are the first worthy person to pick me up in 5 ages. I can feel your heart, Thomas, and I know it is good. Though I have lost my power, you and I will do many great things in service of the great gold worm.
Thomas smiles slightly. Well, who am I to argue with an axe, I suppose?
This is an indomitable war axe. If you're as a magic item, its default bonus always gives you a +1 to your attack rolls and a +1 to your damage rolls. In addition, this indomitable war axe has an always-on effect. If you're attacking an enemy 3 or more levels higher than you, and I'll let you know when that's true, you deal an extra 1d8 damage to that enemy on a hit. And it's a war axe, so it'll be a d6 damage die for you.
A strange thing for these drow to carry, is it not?
Very. Unless they had something to do with the worm that you apparently serve so well.
I wasn't
I would
aware
assume
that I was.
Something I always like to note. Points to the bodies on the ground of the people that were originally here.
Yes.
It's possible they took it off someone else.
Yes.
Likely to.
Would be the logical thing.
Wow.
Regardless,
Plus,
we should keep moving. Speaking on the
Yes.
road.
Yes, we should.
Dirk will nod his assent to that idea.
By the haste of magic, let's move on.
Your trek continues along the Imperial Highway. Dirk is full of gallows humor, his easy mercantile smile disguising the tension. Thankfully, you encounter no further delays today. You even arrive at the suggested campsite before nightfall. It isn't much, just a small clearing off the path, with the gentle burbling of a nearby river. Still, you've got spots to pitch tents, and you're well hidden from the main road. This is our first night in the forest, Dirk says. I'll trust you 5 to keep watch and exercise good fire discipline. Me, I'm turning in early tonight. Be ready, bright in the morning. And a Dirk will actually disappear into the covered wagon.
Alright.
Thomas will nod to his companions and say, I'll take first watch.
I will take a look around the area before we make. And Fargus will sort of circle the campsite for any tracks and some such as that.
Sure, you may go ahead and make a wisdom-based skill check using a relevant background for that.
Yep. The protector of the forest seem kind of.
Yes, I would
sufficient
agree
for
with that.
There we go, 24.
All right. You notice long old tracks that would suggest that previous people have camped in this area, but you don't see anything that would suggest like a predator who might attack this campsite is moving around in the region. Small animals like birds and squirrels. Yes, even bird tracks. You're a fucking druid with magic eyes. But nothing.
Bird went that way.
But nothing that you think, at least, to suggest from tracks that would threaten the campsite. Nothing to say that something has layered here recently that would be a problem tonight.
Right, that is good.
Speaking of fire hazard.
And then Fargus will return, saying that there doesn't seem to be any threats in the area at the moment.
Huron will actually gesture to Tempus to come aside a little bit. The corner of the forest.
Does Tempest choose to go?
Okay. Right, Tempest will follow, a bit weary, but he'll follow.
Huron will sort of walk a little bit in, looking into the forest, saying, so I understand you are one of the created ones.
The word's Forgeborns.
That's-
And yes, I think I am.
Sort of looks at you, and you don't look like the ones I've seen from my home.
That's why I say I think I am.
Says, regardless, you fought well today.
As did you. Not often do I see entire spiders be melted with a flick of a finger, nor do I see entire skulls getting defleshed with another flick of the finger.
So, 'cause I have a particular dislike for these creatures.
Oh,
Looks
really?
as
I
well
couldn't tell.
anything in here, to be honest. Old wounds. I was simply curious as to your nature of being here.
Well, long story. Bit of a vagrant, I imagine. I like to wander back and forth, try and see the world, and also learn things. You know, like learning that some dwarves know how to melt things. With their fingers.
I suppose. Your fighting style also was very different from the ones I knew. Having seen them fight quite a bit, sadly none of them survived. It's just regretful.
Well, maybe they should learn from me then. It seems they need to learn how to survive a little bit longer.
Because their skin was most strong against the corrosive nature of the ooze they were fighting, but sadly they could not protect us as long as they had wanted to.
But
It's a long
what
time,
about-
but you reminded me of it. I think preciously little of home. Well, what used to be home.
Tempest tilts his head a bit. You mean the games or something else?
It is, no, far from that. I'm from a province in the south, border keep. Used to just be protecting caravans coming into the dwarven realms, but now, well, since the homelands were lost, it has been protecting things coming from below instead. Many of these things are acidic slime creeping up. They are corrosive to the touch, and the Warforged were exceptionally good at fighting them, as they were much more resilient to such effects.
I see.
They fought bravely.
You
I
can
respect
easily
them for
tell
that.
his Tempest is thrown by this. You very easily tell he's thrown by. He's not used to a dwarf saying praise. And he's
They
actually-
fought well and did well.
What brings you here, Master Dwarf?
Says, well, it seems in Newport there's a need for people who can melt faces, as you say.
There's always a need for that everywhere in this world. And, of course, sometimes you need to always impress and earn a good few coins on the matter. Oh, and while I remember, here, this is yours. And he hands over 10 gold pieces to you.
I'll take it. Wait, his hands is quite a bit of money. A good little bonus in our travel.
Oh, it's a nice platinum coin, and, well, you get one, I get to keep another, and I'll split the rest with the rest of them.
This is good. I am hoping to start some sort of business adventure once I get to Newport.
What
Sadly,
kind
don't
of
have
venture?
money. Looks, well, I've done quite a bit of prospecting. Mining, perhaps. Quarrying, plantations, forestry. So it looks around. Although, it would be good to get out of this forest for a while.
Well, you did seem to enjoy the fire, to say the least. Especially when several times over you seem to incinerate things that were immediately next to me. And by incinerate, I mean, well, face melting, obviously. It's a specific talent.
It is not melting as such, it is dismantlement. I have a particular talent for doing such. It is very mechanical. Outer layers first, moving inwards. It is useful when dealing with other creations. Before you repair something, you sometimes need to remove something that's already damaged. Remove the broken boards of a bridge or something similar. It works well with these creatures, it seems.
Well, it did work, but I imagine you went a bit too far if you just wanted to repair something. But, you are very curious, little Master Dwarf. But I
find that the repairing the wicked sometimes requires complete deletion.
Such strong words. As I imagine you're a quite passionate individual with very strong opinions, like most dwarves I've met. Although a bit more kinder than most of your species. Pardon the mild racism there, sir. But usually I'm used to more being chased down with axes than anything else.
Why would my people chase you?
I'm not made by dwarves. Well, I lack the obvious features of the other Forgeborn, such as the signatures, the signages, the obvious craftsmanship, for instance. And he kind of like drops down his leather a little bit just to show that the skin doesn't just cover his hands and face, it covers down his chest and other aspects. I am covered in flesh.
And you're sure you are Forgeborn then?
He offers up his arm to you, and he just allows you to poke at it so you can feel some of the workings inside of him.
Sure, he'll sort of poke at it with his thick dwarven finger.
And he moves his fingers at the same time. You definitely feel there's pistons and such in there.
Nonchalant is curious.
Indeed. I sadly do not have the best of reputations with dwarves, as you can quite imagine.
As some are traditionalists, I do not subscribe to that school of thought. I believe that to repair what was lost, we need to move forward.
A progressive dwarf? You're quite a rare breed.
So I also am in a forest far from the mountain homes.
I did notice that. But I felt it was a little bit ruder to comment on that.
Jokes, I left at my own volition. It seems like you did not do so. Well, at least, perhaps had a little harder time to do so.
I don't have a good reputation with the Dwarven King and his kin, sadly. They, as far as I can tell, they want to figure me out. Much like I want to figure myself out. And pardon me, usually when I was quite early on in trying to figure out what I am, I decided to go to the dwarves and learn, and they wanted to dismantle me. Well, actually, no, they put me through the games.
I've only heard a little of it. My family never seemed particularly interested in it, much too dour for such things. Warriors of steel and metal, protecting from the great below. A noble sentiment, but it fit me little.
You have a lot of respect for the Forgeborn.
They fought well and died to save many members of my family.
You do not see them as servants or slaves?
Most are born in such a way, I suppose. Paying off a debt to those who created them, as a child pays off to their family by honoring them or doing some such. But to me, they seem as much as children as any other child of a clan. Their talents are in particular different, and so the service they might be required to do is different as well. However, I would see no reason why individuals who do respectable things should not be respected.
A noble outlook on the world. Dare I ask, though, you come from the south. You avoid caverns in the depths, which of your kin is much more comfortable, I imagine. But what brings you here in particular? I mean, this is the middle of a forest, and coming from A to B, yes, there's a bit of money involved, but why here?
There's new opportunities in Newport. Not many of my people as it is, and so my particular talents will be in good use. The ships, however, seem to be taken. I had originally planned to sail from Santa Cora, but they were all going to Drakenhall. It is rumored that the Emperor himself is going to fight in a gladiatorial battle.
Ah, yes, I'd heard of that. I do wonder what that would look like, but arenas aren't quite my thing, as you could imagine.
Yes, I would guess that. No, it is not my thing either. There is too much to be done. Now I want to move on from this forest and, get to Newport, build a fortune, then we'll see where I go from there.
Well, I'd be quite curious in your venture when we get there. I'm quite intrigued by the way your outlook is, and perhaps maybe we could always experiment with some mechanical devices. Maybe I can show you some of the clockwork things that I make. For instance, this musical box.
As long as that would be most interesting, I certainly would be interested in such a matter. Mechanical creations have always been a hobby, if nothing else. Not that I've been particularly good at making them. My talents are in magic. However, as it happens, magic can be used to create just as much as destroy.
Indeed, I'd be quite curious. Maybe we could have a competition. Physical versus magical.
I do like cooperation more. Perhaps.
I meant in joyous, a little bit of a competition. Of course, we can, compete as well as cooperate between each other. Just, jovial fun.
If we both survive the way to Newport, then I indeed think we should go together. The money between us will also do more to as a starting capital than separately.
Well, in the meantime, maybe when you're on watch, I don't actually sleep myself, but I do take some time to maintain. Maybe we could have a little bit of conversation while you're watching, and I'll just look and fix myself, and maybe have a bit of a further discussion about these, huh?
Yes, I think that would be good. Then sort of turns and moves a hand towards the fire again. Shall we?
Yes, I think it might be a better thing. I think it might get a little bit cold out here, and maybe a bit more spiders in the darkness, Although, well...
Begin walking back. Yes, so do you feel cold?
Oh, I definitely feel cold. I feel the heat. As far as I can tell, the flesh is just like most humans or dwarven skin, although not as tough as your own. But as soon as it goes any deeper, I don't have muscles per se.
But not like most curious.
But interestingly enough, I do bleed in some forms.
So a heart then? A mechanical one, I assume. Running biological blood.
Well, perhaps. I've not really had much of a chance to study that. I rarely like to slice myself apart.
If we stay in this forest much longer, it seems like we'll get ample opportunity.
Oh, of course. I mean, as you can tell from some of the bruises and some of the wounds that have scabbed over here and here. He's showing he's not exactly fully up to scratch with a few cuts and bruises all over him.
Mm-hmm.
But they do mend and they do heal. But I'm always so curious as to why.
Well, there's something to figure out then, perhaps. I do have some contacts I could draw upon back in Horizon, if need be.
Maybe I'll follow you up on that deal.
For now, let's go to Newport. Things will be clear when we get there. We'll see what we can do.
After you, Master Dwarf.
Not as he goes back to the fire to sit down. He's fine with taking a watch. Got it right.
At the fire, you would definitely see Thomas currently having the axe propped up on a log, currently having a staring contest with it. As he mumbles things about how this journey could have turned from buying alcohol for a friend to being chosen by a talking war axe. but after uttering such statements, he does turn rather thoughtful, almost. He basically alternates between just thinking and just self-deprecating humor at this point, as he is trying to understand the situation. Occasionally looking to the others with like a look that just says, "Are you seeing this? Am I dreaming? Are you seeing this?"
Jerome will walk up to him, sort of put a hand on his shoulder. You know, he seems kind of befuddled. Says, "This is the first time you've seen such a thing."
Well, yes, I can say that with some amount of certainty.
Back in Horizon, there was quite a few powerful mages, flying buildings, the like, all had them. All unique and all rare. All with strong personalities. You should be honored and make sure to treat it with the utmost respect. They are not easily scorned.
Well, it seems we have similar interests, at least. So I do not see that as a problem yet. It seems rather curious that this would happen at all. I mean, he stops a bit. I don't quite see myself as the hero this thing suggests me to be.
Just perhaps it'll enable you. Perhaps you enable it. Regardless, it has chosen you, and that means that it is right. They are made by ancient dwarven magic of incredible power. My people have lost the ability to make them since, at least in this true form. It has survived this long and has come in the hands of you. For 5 ages, it has been looking for someone like you, and has found none, according to itself at least.
If anything, that's quite the compliment.
Indeed.
I suppose.
Quite the responsibility as well. There might be something you need to do.
I have the same feeling. He does not elaborate on that.
No. Regardless, it does make me feel well to know that you are able to use this thing. It speaks highly for your honor.
He shrugs. Honor hardly matters when you're protecting a caravan, and the 4 of you seem to be able to handle, well, everything rather nicely.
Yes, and you seem to be perceiving our handling of it very well. So you don't seem to be an amateur at this.
I've seen more than a few scraps in my years. Although not recently, I have to admit. I quit the guard duties in Santa Cora a while ago. It just wasn't the right thing. It wasn't the thing I thought it would be when I went there in the first place. I don't know what I expected.
And now you're looking for new employment as a caravan guard more permanently?
Not particularly. I do have a small business in my hometown, when I quit the guard, I returned back home and decided to fix up one of the old shacks at the outskirts of the town. Turned it first into a home, then, I figured I might as well keep working on it, and one thing led to another, and I was leading quite the tavern. I haven't left town much since, and I'm only on the way to Newport to, well, do a friend a favor.
As you said as much. Well then, it shall be interesting to see where this journey leads you.
This axe certainly is not the tool of a bartender.
Chopping wood with it would surely work. However, I don't think that is what it would want.
Perhaps I need to reconsider my most recent choices.
Shrugs. People who wield these things often don't have to. They will do it for you.
He kind of laughs at that.
Yeah, humans are looking and says, I suppose, since the rest of you are up, I should take my rest. He'll go and do just that. Seems like the raven he sometimes carries with him mostly just flies off of its own, coming back home when it's hungry. Or has found something it wants to eat, simply sitting on his shoulder while eating it. Or hopping around near him.
Fargus will sit by the fire and meditate for a while, but then he will also go to bed.
I'm glad you enjoyed the display, Tempus.
Well, it's quite well, it's either that or more things explode on me, you know. You got to look at it in the silver lining. Either a little bit of a singed hood or melted clothing, you know. You have to look at the positive.
I guess we can both thank each other then. I just wanted to say thanks for stopping them from straight away charging me.
Of course. Well, you do look a little bit squishier than me. I can take a bit of a beating, and as you could very well have seen it stung quite a bit.
Well, of course I look a little bit squishy compared to you. Well, you tower completely over me. I can barely see past you.
Oh, quite. You know, I'm not that big.
I'm not very big either. Though right now I guess I can see past. Looks down from the tree.
Now, how about I take first watch? You guys all get some good rest, and I'll wake you up in a couple of hours.
I don't think I want to sleep quite yet. We can share first watch if you want to.
Well, I'll be awake anyway. I just need to sit and fiddle with things. I'll give you conversation.